let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Devin Hudd. I've been a road director for just over 10 years and getting ready to move on up in the Rotary world to a club. And we're here today to kind of start the conversation about what potentially, if we were going to start, a young professionals Rotary club in the district, what that could or should look like. And we would love to learn from clubs in District 5030 that are doing a good job of attracting and retaining younger members, but also from other existing young professionals clubs out in the world. So I'm hoping that we have a pretty broad range of people joining us here today. I see we've got 30 other people on the line, so I'm excited to hear from everybody. So we've got everybody. I didn't know that your videos were turned off as well. I knew that you were muted. I did not know your videos were turned off. So if you have something that you want to add to the conversation, please just go ahead. Thanks, Terry. Please just go ahead and use the raise your hand feature. And if you don't know how to find that, you can type in the chat and we can help you out. But I'm assuming that at this point, everyone has brought them and their mother to a Zoom call at one point. So if you need help, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to steam right ahead. And then also, please feel free, because you're not automatically, because you are automatically muted, please feel free to use the Q&A chat feature to send in questions or comments. And if we see something particularly exciting, we may choose to follow up on it. But we're really going to take advantage of that Q&A chat feature to keep the conversation going without having all now 32 of us involved in a very loud conversation with lots of background noise. And I should preface, speaking of background noise, I do have, and yes, Bill, we will unmute people if you raise your hand and you have something you want to add to the conversation, or if we see something interesting come through on the Q&A, we will unmute you and then you can be part of the conversation. But that way we don't have to worry about lots of background noise. Speaking of background noise, I have a tiny child in the back, so if you hear baby noises, it's not your imagination. So, Mariah, we were originally planning to do a little introduce the audience with poll questions, and I know that you didn't have. Anyway, yeah. You aren't prepared to do this at the moment. Are you able to set those up, or should I just have people send in answers in the chat?
I can. It'll take me a minute to build them because the polls aren't entered in here already. We had a little technical snafu and our scheduled tech person isn't here, so I jumped in and got the meeting started, but we might be missing a few things, including polls. Are they the ones that you sent me in the email the other day?
Yes, they are. And with your everything you said in your feedback, I included. So just do it how you would want to do it, and that's what it is. Hi, Nev Kieran. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, everybody. I know there's a lot of people here for lovely personal friends, and it's so nice to have everybody here today. I'll just keep going on a few other logistical points, and Mariah, when you're ready with the questions, just jump in and let me know.
Okay.
So I already went over the raising the hand and the Q&A box. And so just in general today, we're going to try to keep the discussion pretty high level. You know, once we're able to gauge interest and perhaps get a few other committed people that are willing to move forward with this idea, is when that core group will kind of dive into a lot of the nitty-gritty details of how this club is going to work. Today, I want to stay high level, just hear about some really good ideas and best practices that are happening both in the Seattle area and around the world. And if there's something that we're talking about that if you are a young professional and you say, yes, that's a thing that I would love to see reflected in a Rotary club, just drop a note in the Q&A and just say ditto or agree or whatever it is. We really want to just kind of hear what's happening out there and what people take the temperature of how people are feeling about it all. And then also, because I have not been a member of a Rotary Club, there are a lot of potentially formal Rotary things that I'm not aware of. So forgive me if I have to ask a follow-up question about dues structures or any number of things that a Rotaractor may not know the details on. We may need some extra information there. So please be patient. How are we doing, Mariah? She's on mute.
Sorry, I'm back. I have the first 2 questions built, and I think I can launch those. So that'll get us people's affiliation and ages. These are anonymous, guys, in case that's important to you. I will go ahead and launch both of those and let us know where you fit it.
So this is just to try to get an idea of who is out there in the audience. I'm not going to follow up on this and say, I don't know. This is cool, real time, look at that. Feel like we need background music.
Yeah, a little elevator music would be nice now.
All
right, that is most people,
Jeopardy music.
So
Thanks,
I am going to end the polling and share the results.
Great. So this is very interesting. I like that we have 2 Long Lost Rotary Program alums. That is really excellent. Hello, Genevieve from New York City. That's cool. Cool, great. Thank you guys all for joining us today. And this is just really helpful to kind of see, well, where the audience is sitting and what kind of conversation we're going to be having today. I'm really excited to hear from a majority of District 5030 people, because I know we have a lot of really great homegrown ideas here in District 5030 as well. And while we can always learn from everybody, it's nice to have local people and local clubs that we can align with. Ready, Mariah? Oh, do I have to click share results? Can you guys see the results?
Sorry, I stopped sharing them after 10 seconds. Do you want me to reshare them?
Oh, no, you do whatever you do. That's
okay.
There.
I'm building a poll in the internet separately from this, so it takes me a minute to get back and forth. I can share them and leave them up, but they might be in the way. I don't know.
Please share. I'll click share. You do what you're doing.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to go back on mute because I have dogs and I was not prepared for this meeting.
I know. Thank you so much for stepping in and helping out with this. So we have 3. We have 3 people that are not from District 5030. So I know that we had Genevieve come through. Could the 2 other people that are joining us type in the chat real quick of where you're joining us from? I see Portland, who I know is a member of the, correct me if I'm wrong, San Francisco Evening Club, which has a young professionals focus. There we go. Oh, I nailed it. Love it. Hi, Jenny. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Got a lot of Seattle 4. Love that. Thanks for your guys' support. Okay. Oh, Nepal. Look at that. Cool. Thank you, everybody. And hello, Rob. Good to see you too. And Zach, I know you're hiding, but I see you in there. Okay, how are we doing, Maria? Ready for the next question?
Almost 2 seconds. Hold on. Hitting save now.
Okay, and while while she's preparing for this, also, the next warm-up question was going to be if everybody who is a current or former Rotaractor or Rotarian, if you could share in the Q&A box your favorite thing about your club in 1 to 3 words. So go ahead and get started on that, and then Mariah will have the next poll question up in a second.
Okay, and just to confirm, the next poll question was the what brings you here today one, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Joey. Responsive to change. That's a very appropriate one for us being here today. Members and speakers. Excellent. Always relationships. We're all here for the people, aren't we? Your favorite thing about your club. People, networking, welcoming, even when online. Oh, I love these. Keep them coming, guys. Oh, hi, May. That's beautiful. Excellent. I'm sensing a few themes, which is great. This is the kind of thing that we can take and roll up to be able to take some of these bigger themes and design a club that speaks to what people love best about Rotary. Relatable. Good one. Care for all in the community. And Anne, I don't think I had seen your club or your name come through yet. What club are you with? Oh, lovely. Des Moines Rotary Park, Normandy Park.
All right, are we ready for the poll now?
We are ready. As much as I can just keep talking to myself all day long.
I think this is our last question, hopefully, unless I missed one.
Okay, so what brings you here today? And Mariah, can people choose more than one answer? Is that a possibility?
I don't think they can. I did not see that option.
That's okay. I was just curious.
Quick put together.
Oh, wow. Look at all that interest. Love it. And Rob, I'm going to need you to move up here so you can join too, just so you know. Thanks for the support, Jermaine. I'm sure you have a relevant thing or two to say as well. All right, we've got 8 people, well, me and Mariah, 6 people that haven't answered yet, if you want to get those in real quick.
All right, we will call that good and share those results.
Perfect. Thank you, Mariah. So we've definitely got a lot of people here interested in learning about a potential Seattle club, which is awesome. Welcome, welcome. We'll stay in contact. And also for getting potential ideas for their club, which is really great. So I'm excited to start a larger conversation rather than just me talking to the camera about what some other clubs have done. So go ahead and raise your hand if you did some research before you got here about some other young professionals clubs that you might like to share. Kathy, I'm going to click the allowed to talk button. Here it comes.
Hi, everybody. And thank you, Devin and Mariah. This is a really important conversation because there are young professional clubs in other parts of the Rotary world. And we want to explore what that might look like here. But some of the things that are evident in other clubs in other parts of the Rotary world have the young professionals taking all the leadership roles, really focusing on networking, less about the meeting and eating, and very service oriented, and finding a way to keep a balance between their busy working lives, their busy family lives, and their Rotary lives. So really focused on balance.
Great. Thank you. I'm excited to see where that balance comes in as well. With my new baby, I have a lot more things to balance. Do you have anything else you want to add, Kathy?
No, that's for the moment. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. And Genevieve, you are up. Here we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Genevieve. I'm the immediate past president from the Metro Club in New York City. And I think in terms of events, you know, having, for one thing, a lot of events on the weekend we've had success with in terms of getting younger members, whether it's a weekend brunch or more of a happy hour time. And then just experimenting, whether it's different types of cultural tours, museum outings, fundraisers, volunteering, movie screenings, to kind of gauge interest and get people involved. And another key thing we've had success with for communication is actually either asking people to opt into like a WhatsApp group, because you get so many emails now, right? You're just inundated, that a lot of people we found just weren't opening emails, so they didn't know about events. So if people are willing, you can have different WhatsApp groups, and it's a good way for people to communicate, share ideas, and just feel like they've been heard.
Great. Could you just give us a minute or two overview of what your club looks like? I don't know that everyone is familiar with the New York Metro Club.
Sure. We have about 45 members, and I would say the age range is between 30 to 45 primarily. It's also very international, which is fun, and we get a lot of interesting overseas Rotarians visiting. Currently, we have it set up to where we have dinner meetings. Again, just it works with everyone's schedule. I know even for myself, I can't usually take a 1 hour lunch break. So dinner tends to be the best option.
Great. All right. Well, I hope you have some other things that you're inspired to share later too. It's really great to have you here. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more ideas too.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have any research that they did that they'd like to share? Or, oh, Alicia, here we go. Pressing allow to talk.
Hi, Devin. Thanks for facilitating. Yeah, so
Of
this
course.
is
Thank you for being here.
Seattle 4, and a concept that keeps coming back over and over again that I find that I like, and I'm usually someone who is super busy, doesn't like to open the emails, but using like a Slack, just like the WhatsApp suggestion, and I've been on the hunt for, you know, a Slack-like, WhatsApp's-like application that doesn't cost a lot of money. So, but what's nice about those is it enables people to connect when they're not together. So I guess I'm doing a thumbs up vote to like the WhatsApp kind of like these tools that help us connect in between face-to-face meetings.
Love it. Are there other technology solutions that clubs use outside of WhatsApp and Slack? If you want to drop it in the chat, or raise your hand.
Am I still, can you still hear me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm experimenting with one called Discord. It's free, but it has a lot of the same features as Slack. So that's the one I'm taking a look at right now.
Cool. Thank you. And it looks like we've got 2 more hands raised. So now, Kieran, coming to you.
Hello.
Hello.
Haven't seen you in a while, Devin, and hello
I
everyone else.
know.
So actually, I'm now part of the Rotary Club of Puget Sound Passport, and the one thing that's been great for me is that I've sort of been hopping the globe for the last 2 years, and being involved with them. I'm still, as part of District 5030, still a Rotarian, and conveniently, we are having online meetings, so the Zoom meetings work out well for us in a time like this. So I think finding different platforms where you can meet, not necessarily in person, with everyone being so busy and work changes and all of that, or and all of those things. Finding those platforms is important.
That's a really good point too, about people undergoing work changes that may not have the ability that they did 3 months ago to attend meetings and things like that. I like that. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
And Leo, coming to you.
Thanks. So I'm no longer a young Rotarian.
Oh, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, you can't hear me?
There you go. That was better. Yes.
So one of the things that our club already has is kind of the back end of the website, where there is a list of all of the Rotarians with what they do and how long they've been in Rotary and whether they've been a Paul Harris member and whatnot. And so the idea is that it's very good to have a online, but it's kind of backwards, right? It's still like 2002. But it would be very good to have a dynamic kind of like, hey, who is in my club and what do they do? What do they like? Very, very quickly. So then when you're communicating with other members, you can, oh, who is that? Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, right. I need that. Oh, or hey, we are looking for somebody like that for our company or something like this. So the idea of getting kind of like a static, not static, a dynamic online kind of business cards that are not like more, phone friendly and whatnot would be really good. So a little kind of a little bit about kind of like a little bit of a dating site, just having a little app,
Yeah.
just say, this is who I am. And because I think that number one thing about Rotary is connections and engagement. Outside of the actual work that we do, service of ourselves, the connections are really is the key. So that's what.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, how many members does your club have?
Bellevue Rotary has 200 members. We are the largest club outside of Seattle 4.
That big one, yeah.
We're So, and they do have trouble attracting new young members, and I think that there is a real need. One more thing that I wanted to mention, ever since COVID-19, the fact that we are meeting on Zoom, I just had my meeting today, is really powerful, and I think that there'll be more online clubs in general, which actually begs the question, maybe there is a possibility of creating just an online-only young professional club with outings that happen whenever outings happen. But so that it allows people to have a lot more flexibility, or maybe a hybrid club where it's in person, but there is always a video camera and there's always, people who can participate that way. So just
certainly a possibility. And just a question came through in the chat. Is the feature you were talking about on your website, is that based through DACDB, or is that something that's done?
Yeah,
okay.
It is. I couldn't remember what it's called, but yes.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. And then if we've got, I know we have a few other people from other young professionals clubs, if you'd be willing to share, if you want to raise your hand, just best practices, things that you guys do that you think are potentially unique from other Rotary clubs. We would love to hear more. And then also with the Seattle 4 Young Professionals group, we'd love to hear about unique things that you guys do as well, if anybody wants to raise their hand and tell us about that. Taylor, here you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got called out in the chat. I'm glad you were willing.
I know. Sorry. So my boyfriend and I are doing long distance, and he just called me, so I had to hop off really quick to talk to him
That's
first.
okay.
So
Don't worry.
sorry for being a little late to the party, but no. So kind of with Seattle 4, what we introduced a little bit was networking nights, and so when I joined in 2018, that was something I really noticed was we don't do enough networking, just sitting kind of in the rooms. I mean, it's great, like you meet a lot of people, but you don't really connect in a more beneficial way, I think. And so
Mhm.
I help run Young Professionals of Seattle, another kind of networking group as well on the side of Rotary. And it's something we do there, and we get 150 young professionals together every month, and we do it once a month at the last Tuesday of every month, and it seems to work really well. And so I
Mhm.
tried to kind of push that onto Rotary a little bit. So luckily, Rotary gave me a little bit of money to play with to try to make that happen. In the first year, it did really well, just because we did a better job of marketing it. This year, obviously, with kind of the circumstances of everything, we kind of haven't been doing as much. It's been harder, obviously, trying to get a lot of kind of the older members to kind of join in has been a little tougher, and kind of the messaging has kind of gotten a little muffled, I think. It's not just for Rotarians, it's for anyone and everyone that wants to learn just a little bit about Rotary, but also anyone who just wants to connect with people that are, in the community, people that want to help each other. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that Rotary can help. And so, my goal is to bridge the gap between kind of that after you graduate from college, young professional, to, kind of some of those 30, 40-year-olds in normal Rotary. Because that's where that's where I'm at too, where it's like, you're trying to find a place that's a good fit for you. And young professionals, I did that for 4 years after school, and it was great. And you meet a lot of younger people, but then you soon realize you don't need just business connections, but it's the caliber of, and this might sound a little weird and odd, but it's like the intelligence level. You want some people that are older. You want to learn from older people to understand some other business acumen, to understand the goal of community service, to, really find a voice. And I think Seattle 4 has done a better job in the last couple of years at noticing we need to attract younger members. Yes, like I'm all for tradition. I think tradition is good. Just like cultural traditions, you pass them down, and I think it's a good way to learn. But I think you have to be understanding and open to new perspectives. So it's been awesome that they embrace a lot of younger members, and also just ideas from younger members. They say, hey, if you want to run with it, we'll let you run with it as long as we don't have to do it. But I think that's the cool part about it, is if you are willing to put the work in and lead, you can do it, and they allow that. So I think that's been super helpful on Seattle 4's end. But it'll be interesting to see, how we continue to move that forward with all the Zoom meetings. It's tough. I'm in Zoom meetings all day. So when someone says, okay, let's hop on another Zoom call after 4:30, I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'll do it, but it's definitely harder. And so how do you keep young professionals, even, like all of us, entertained or like wanting to come back and keep the retention? Like, I think that's going to be the hardest part right now.
Absolutely.
So
And just for context, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm just interested to hear from everyone else on kind of all these different aspects.
Yeah. And just for context, do you have a role within the Young Professionals group, or are you just a particularly active member?
So for Rotary specifically, I'm going to be one of the board members for the 2020-2021 year, which I'm super excited about. And then I guess I'm kind of like on the committee, or I'm not really exactly sure. We have one. It's kind of been lumped together as kind of networking and young leaders together. We used to have it was like a specific committee that in 2018, 2 people led, and then it kind of dropped off a bit last year and this year. So I'm not exactly sure how that's working. We've kind of melded it together into membership and retention. It kind of just blends.
I would say that Taylor is the acting chair of the YRLs at Seattle 4, even if she isn't official.
There we go. Perfect. Great. Well, thank you,
And then on
Taylor,
the
for
Young
sharing.
Professionals of Seattle side, I'm the communications director. So I'm running all of our social media, and I'm actually in the middle of trying to step down from it, but it's been really difficult to do it because of all of what's happening. So I'm still doing it.
Right. Great. Well, thank you. And I'm sure we'll hear more from you as we go.
That was a lot.
It's okay. You have relevant experience, so happy to hear it. And Virginia has her hand raised. I'm going to bring you in. Virginia, did you have anything you wanted to add to what Taylor said about Seattle 4?
Yeah, thank you. You were asking, this is Virginia McKenzie from Seattle Rotary. My little claim to fame is I started the Young Rotary Leader Committee 10 years ago, and it's so fun to see all of this continue. I wanted to volunteer. I think the most successful program that we had on the Young Rotary Leader Committee is, we called it our YRL Dinner Series. And we invited luminaries from Seattle Rotary and built a private dinner party around them and just sponged on their life as leaders and Rotarians. And we had so many special gatherings. We went, Ralph Monroe had us to his farm in Olympia. Retired Navy Admiral Tom Hayward. We went to a wine cellar, and we had a private dinner with a special chef, Lulay, with Geraldine Brousseau, Faith Ireland, Dorothy Bullitt. I could go on. And
no, I remember when those happened, and they always sounded very cool. So that's it. I like that, and that's a good idea to take into the future.
Yeah, the thing that I loved about it is it felt really special. I think that's what young professionals are looking for when they join something like a Rotary, is they want access to these luminaries. And you know, these Rotarians are so happy to fill that role, you could say. I mean, it just took an invitation. Every single person that we invited to dinner said yes. And
when does that ever happen?
Yeah, and then we just spent a little bit of time thinking about how to make it special and how to make it unique to that person. And you know, it ranged from, I don't know, maybe 15. I think our biggest one was 30. And some of them went on. I mean, I think the one at Faith Ireland, we were in her backyard around the lake and well into dark, and it was summer, so it might have been 10 or 10:30. It was really special. So I'd love to see a Young Professionals Club start up, but I'm just going to volunteer that Seattle City Rotaract, if you want help building these luminary dinner parties with Seattle Rotary, I will help you facilitate these introductions, and I will help you make it special. Please call on me. I would love to do that as your liaison.
All right. I know there's people on the call from Seattle City Rotaract, so I hope they're paying attention. Thank you for sharing, both of you, about what's happening at Seattle 4. We had 2 other hands up, Portland and Denaya. If you still wanted to talk, raise your hand again, and I'll cue you in. All right, Portland, here we go.
Hello, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So like I said in the chat earlier, I'm from the Rotary Club of San Francisco Evening. And one thing that my club does to, you know, kind of organically create those networking and conversation, you know, really just engaging with each other, is in the middle of our meeting. So first off, I should say, we meet kind of like a happy hour time. We always have like heavy appetizers. It's included in our dues, and we meet in like the basement of a restaurant. So there's a bar, and our meeting format is fairly similar to most Rotary meetings, but kind of in the middle of it, right before the speaker is introduced and comes up, we have what we call Fellowship 5. And it's technically 5 minutes, or it's supposed to be 5 minutes. It's usually somewhere in the range of, yeah, it's 5 minutes in Rotary world, which means, you know, like, and it basically just gives everyone a time to just chat, grab another drink. And, you know, I've really made connections that way, and it doesn't seem forced. And it's the nicest thing.
Just like a little intermission between the business and
Yeah.
the speaker. Okay.
Yeah. And it really just gives people a chance to like talk and get to know each other instead of just like, cool, we all just got off work, we're gonna grab our food, sit down, have a drink, and that's it.
Right. Right. Once you get settled, it gives you a chance to get up and talk to other people, and I like that.
For sure.
Great. Thank you. All right. Last call. Anybody else? Oh, we've got a message. Did you want to, if you wanted to speak, I'd be happy to unmute you if you want to raise your hand again. But it looks like their club has been sponsoring young professionals from the Rotaract Club to have dual membership. So that's fantastic. And that's definitely something that we're going to be taking advantage of in starting a young professionals club, is that we know there's going to be a lot of people making the jump from Rotaract to Rotary, and how can we facilitate that better and use that dual membership to help bring people along and join us in a young professionals club. Okay. Are there any other current 50/30 clubs that want to share something specific that they've found has worked well in attracting and retaining younger members? If anybody wants to raise their hand. You know, it doesn't have to be District 50/30. It can be anybody. Okay. Sorry, my cat is trying to jump out the window. All right. That was fun. Would anyone like to raise their hand? All right, then I'm just going to call on people. Caitlin, who I know is with the Bellevue Breakfast Club and joined directly from a Rotaract club also on the east side. Caitlin, if you'd be willing to share maybe what attracted you to your club, or something cool that your club does that you think is interesting to young professionals. Well, did I get it? That one might take a minute. I had to promote her.
There we go.
Oh, there we are. Sorry, that was the technical difficulty.
So the main direct thing that got me involved with my club is that they sponsored my Rotaract Club. And so just having that initial connection helped a lot to kind of get introduced to the club and what they were about and everything. And so it was less scary to transition over because I knew what was going on.
Absolutely.
So that was the biggest thing. And the second thing is that they have discounted dues for people under 35. So the dues are actually cut in half, which is another big plus.
That's a big amount.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing, and thanks for being willing when I called on you.
Yeah, no, I was like, I knew this was coming.
It had to happen eventually.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So we'll definitely be reaching out to other clubs to learn some best practices and what people are already doing well. There's no need for us to reinvent the wheel when it comes to all of these things. So thank you to all of those that were willing to share so far. And you probably will be hearing from me or someone else again. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that any of you young people on the call would make a club attractive to you joining, whether that's something you're looking at from the outside, like a nice website or good social media presence, or that's something that would retain you in the club that we may have touched on, maybe something more specific about building those relationships, other networking ideas. Anybody have anything in particular they want to share? Please raise your hand. Delaney? Oh, hi, May. I see you've got your hand raised. Thank you. I'm going to bring you in.
Okay, perfect. Hey, yeah, it worked.
Hi.
It's going to be kind of challenging with this kind of times that we are in, but I truly believe what drew me into is, well, I got to see the caliber of people, but seeing the caliber of people in action.
Mm.
So actions speak louder than words, and it's pretty cool to talk to people about what they've done and what they're about. When you get to do some projects with them, it leads to kind of like you understand a little deeper what this is really all about. So if you can figure out some sort of project that's meaningful within your community that would retain people, and I'm pretty sure depending on where you're at in New York City, Seattle, wherever we're dealing with the homeless issue, or maybe it's time of our, whatever issue that's prevalent to your exact community. It could be maybe even creating a garden, community garden. Whatever it is that pulses your community or yourself. People love enthusiasm. They see you psyched about something when they be part of it. So I would just recommend figure out that service project that could be your first pivot to go forward. It drove me in seeing these great quality people, and then they're giving out food. They're packing food just like the everyday person. So just want to share that.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And Bailey, here we go.
Hi, everyone. So I'm a part of Rotary 4, but I was previously a part of Spokane Rotary 21. So I've had the opportunity to see it from a couple different angles. And I think one thing is allow for some organic ideas too. I know Virginia mentioned earlier about, having dinners and opportunities for people to come together. Back in Spokane, we really went after kind of the younger population. When I was a part of their membership committee and membership chair, and we tried to do different events that not only were just networking events. I know Taylor does a good job of doing that for Seattle 4, but really looking at kind of what would be of interest at those events. And so we would do everything from kind of a beers and cheers, after hours event, like a happy hour where everyone could just come, and it was definitely more relaxed. We had breakfast events where we would do a surprise Rotary guest each time, or like you never knew who was going to be telling about themselves. And I think one of the big things is just we're all so connected with so many people too, and being able to tell our story. I know there's going to be another webinar later this week on that, but being able to share that excitement. Jaime was someone who really attracts me to Rotary 4 in that, you see these people who are out in the community that are doing awesome things that have that great personality that you want to, join up with. And sometimes there are things that happen organically, like, hey, there's a few of us that are a part of Rotary 4, let's all meet up for coffee and stuff, or, at a time that meets better. And so finding kind of what those niche points are, because you'll see in a lot of the comments, people are like, maybe lunch doesn't work as easily for others. But just thinking outside the box too of how can we also help highlight those members in a way and give them the platform and the opportunity to grow into Rotary if they want to become, part of kind of the other Rotary clubs as well.
Love it. Great. Thank you, Bailey. And looks like we've got Elijah's got their hand up also.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Oh, I could. Now I can't.
How about now?
Yes.
Excellent. So I'm gonna preface this actually by saying I am fairly new to Rotary and everything. So if I do say something that Seattle Rotary 4.
Okay.
So if I say something that already is pre-existing, apologies for that. But I think one thing for me in particular that I would be looking for if I wasn't a part of everything already is opportunities to have something that I could build experience with, especially being someone out of college who may not have abilities to, or may not have a lot of experience doing a lot of different things or in leadership roles, maybe organizing events and things like that. Kind of, I guess, a little more slack on the leash within limits to kind of help put something together, like work with an older Rotarian to really be able to put together an event and be able to say on their resume, I helped put this event together for over 50 people or something to kind of help help create a little credit and experience for them.
Great. And just out of curiosity, what did you look at other Rotary clubs? What drew you to Seattle for?
So I hadn't looked at other clubs. I was drawn to Seattle for through a friend, and then I actually got to connect with some folks on the programming side, and got to attend a couple meetings, and I was really I'm trying to find the word, but I'll use pleased for now. I really liked how I was embraced in the meeting in terms of there was a lot of people with a lot more experience than I was, but I was welcomed very positively to the meeting, to be a part of it and to be able to find a way to create a role or find a way that I could help. And so I thought that spoke very loudly and was really a positive thing for me and kind of a big factor in why I decided to join.
Great. Okay, good to keep in mind. Thank you for sharing. And Howard has got his hand up next. Hi, Howard.
Hi there. I'm with Emerald City, and I noticed a few people talked about dues structure for younger people. We actually give people under the age of 35 a 40% discount on dues, which allows them, a lot of them don't have their companies offering to pay. Sometimes companies, you have to be there for a while, you have to own the company. So we really want to engage younger people into the club. And I think the most important thing to really get people, young or old, is, and this is something we can learn from in my club as well, is just really getting involved in service projects. The more service projects you have, the better off you are. And every month in Rotary is a different Rotary theme month. Vocational literacy, and it would really be a great idea if clubs were to at least do one service project related to the month, each month. And I know when I joined Rotary many years ago, I became an instant Rotarian because the first month we were out painting houses, and everybody sees you with a paintbrush in your hand, and all of a sudden you become their equal. So I think it's really important to get a lot of service projects out there. I think that gets any young and old involved, and also builds, breaks down the generation gap. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Howard.
You're welcome.
And David, you're up next. If you're ready, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, David Park, Seattle 4. I'm a newer member. I'm going to be celebrating my 1-year anniversary here in a couple months. You've heard from Taylor, Bailey, and Jaime. What attracted me was I attended Bellevue Rotary as a guest of the founder of our company. I enjoyed that. Experience in that community felt like church to me. And then I told my boss, I said, you know what, I'd be interested in joining with you. He said, since I've been attending Bellevue, why don't you check out Seattle? So I contacted Carolyn and was able to go as a guest. And then that first day I met Bailey as soon as I checked in at the table, and Bailey welcomed me, and I loved her energy. She shared her story about transferring from Spokane. Then I met Crazy Jaime. He's got awesome energy too. And then, and so I said, it feels like home. So I felt just that energy, and right away I was volunteering at Harvest versus Hunger. Is that what it's called?
Harvest Against Hunger. Mm-hmm.
Correct. So I did that, and then I met Taylor. She's awesome. She organizes all these, and then we went to the mixer, and so that's a mixer at the cafe, Hard Rock Cafe. So all these, my thing is that I think that we could really attract younger, newer members from just being ourselves and being welcoming. So I felt that energy and that welcoming, and that's why I eventually joined.
All right. Yeah, we're hearing a lot about the welcoming, positive spirit. I like that. Thank you for sharing. And Howard, did you put your hand up again, or did I not put your hand back down? If you want to jump back in, you're welcome to. Okay, we'll move along. Taylor raised her hand again.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of kind of some of Howard's comments a little bit. So I know, like, obviously we all do so many different service projects, but it would be nice to kind of highlight one every month. But it also would be good to do some social media. I'm on email all day long, and yes, I have email on my phone, but I'm also checking social media probably more than I check my email. And so nice, because sometimes that's how I know things are happening. Like, I know we do a lot of things like with Wellsprings Family Services. And if I didn't see that like on a Facebook, message or something, I wouldn't know that we were doing some of those things. Because at least in our club in Seattle 4, we see all the different slides through kind of the lunch hour, but they're not 100% highlighted every time. And they're coming up, but sometimes we announce them literally the day before. So I know some millennials like to plan a lot like me, and some do not. So I think you have to cater to kind of both audiences. I'm a planner, so I want to know, okay, like if this is happening next Saturday, I'll put it in my calendar, but you got to tell me when it is and let me know when.
Absolutely.
I'm not one who can be like, hey, I can go tomorrow, just because, I also don't live in the city, so it's a lot harder for me to commute. So, that's another thing to think about too with different clubs, where people commute from. I know that was a big challenge with kind of some of our networking mixers. Is a lot of people, obviously, a lot of people wanted to come, but a big problem was after work, they have kids. And for us, when we did it at the Hard Rock Cafe, one of the funniest things is they allow kids there. So I told some of our members, I'll watch your kids for you if you come. So there's ways to get people to come. And kids sometimes obviously you can't help it if they throw a tantrum and you can't come. That's understandable. But I think, we have to look at all possibilities and trying to retain people, if that means, saying, hey, I'll watch your kids for you if you can at least come and entertain yourself for a little bit, step away from your kids. That's fine. And I think that can help, some people feel a little at ease. So thinking outside.
I show up at Rotaract meetings and I hand my kid off and somebody else has her the whole time. It's great.
Right? It's nice. So, whatever we can do to help, it's a good idea. But yeah, I know I went to a District 5030 mixer, and I think that's kind of how we came up with doing these networking events. And they're not just networking, they're just mixers or happy hour or just things that other people can go to. I know the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation they did a margarita class, which was really fun. I did that a couple weeks ago for Cinco de Mayo with them, and everyone just hopped on a Zoom, and there's like a local Seattle bartender showing us how to make different kinds of margaritas, and we got to all kind of like showcase ours and talk to each other. So I think there's other
Love
ways
it.
to keep engaging, even though we're in this situation. But I think
Absolutely.
it'll
Well,
get
and I
better
thought,
again once things open. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I love those ideas, and I saw come through in the chat too about co-sponsoring and getting together to co-host events, which is wonderful, keeps it fresh, invites new people. So those are all great
Yeah,
ideas.
and I think it would be fun to sometimes have it in a different location. I think, we get tired sometimes. Like, the one nice thing about the Hard Rock Cafe is, one, they don't charge a bunch, and that's what people don't realize is spaces, you have to charge something for them, and food and stuff. And so there are costs associated with things. You don't get everything for free,
Right.
but we could still use connections to, I know another one we did was like women specific. So a lot of the women, I think it was Barbie Seifert. She works with the 180 Foundation, and she donated her space on like I don't know, it was almost the top floor of a building downtown Seattle. And it was beautiful and super fun and stuff like that. So there's, again, different kind of realms we can look at too.
Great. I really appreciate all your input today. And Virginia, I see your post here about a poll, which we do have that question queued and ready to go, but I'm going to go ahead and skip it in the interest of time, since I want everybody to be able to go have dinner and enjoy their evenings. So if you are interested in continuing the conversation about getting a club started here in the Seattle area and are interested in joining, please go ahead and drop your email address in the chat, and we'll be getting back to you. Thank you everybody so much for joining us today and for sharing ideas from your own clubs or from your heart. We definitely had quite a few big themes come out of this. So we'll be taking those forward, and we really appreciate all of your input here today. So thanks for coming. See you soon. Ooh, Caitlin's interested. I like it. Thanks, Zach. Good to see you. It's been a long time. Now I really need the Jeopardy music. Thank you, Mariah, for jumping in and handling all of that.
You're very welcome. Happy to act as tonight's resident Zoom expert. Getting a lot of
Do
calls
I send you
lately.
my $300 or?
If anybody has any weddings or memorial services you need hosted on Zoom, apparently that's my new side gig.
Who's that? You got called a celebrity. Did you know? Did you know? Look at all your Rotary friends.
All right, we'll give everyone a couple more minutes to enter your emails if you want to be followed up with later.
Caitlin, if you're still listening, my mom is moving to your neighborhood, and I have those things I need to drop off for you, so maybe I'll bring them by this weekend sometime.
Oh, did we get a raised hand?
Oh, did we?
Richard would like to talk. Here you go, Richard. I think you'll have to unmute yourself. Or maybe not.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes. Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering where I could send my email to get information on setting up a club.
Yeah, do you see the Q&A or the chat
Okay.
option?
Sure.
Yeah, just drop it right in there. Hi, you're so helpful. Okay, yeah.
That necklace makes for a great baby toy.
That what?
That necklace makes for a great baby toy.
Oh, it is her favorite toy. I was just going through photos of the morning she was born, and there's one, she's got to be like 3 hours old, and she's holding on to it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I took it off last week sometime, and every time I was holding her, she would like look for it. I didn't know that she would, like, if it wasn't there, that she would look for it. It was really surprising. We have learned object permanence.
All right, so I haven't seen any more things entered in the chat box in a little while. If anyone's having trouble, you can raise your hand. Yeah.
Well, I'll drop my email, and then if anybody's having trouble, they can just email it to me.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Shut it down.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.